A Great Falls native continues to make strides in the battle against Alzheimer's disease. I met with the McLaughlin Research Institute scientists to learn how a multi-million-dollar grant will help better understand this disease that affects nearly 7 million Americans.
Well, the immune system changes with age.
Dr. Tiffany Hensley McBain's persistence has paid off.
So this grant has been in process since fall 2021 when I started here.
The Great Falls native has received a National Institutes of Health grant for more than $3.1 million for 5 years for Alzheimer's research.
So our Montana population is aging, and with that comes a risk of age-related diseases, and so we will see a spike in things like Alzheimer's disease over the next 5 to 10 years. And so our hope is that by studying these sorts of things at the McLaughlin, we can benefit our state.
Hensley McBain shares some of her research with colleagues Wednesday, including team members who will benefit from the funding.
So I have 3 full-time employees in my lab that are all scientists that were trained, and most of them born and raised here in Great Falls. And then I also have 5 students from Touro College of Osteopathic Medicine now in the lab.
According to the Alzheimer's Association, Alzheimer's disease is the most common cause of dementia. And while new treatments and therapies are being developed to potentially delay, prevent, or even cure Alzheimer's, Hensley McBain says the research leading up to that is vitally important.
So I'm very optimistic about where the science is moving and where we may be with therapies in the next 5 to 10 years. The benefit of continuing to do research like mine is that there's still more work to be done, and so hopefully all of these things coming together will see the end of Alzheimer's disease in the future.
The McLaughlin Research Institute has an internationally renowned reputation. Hensley McBain says she's fortunate to make a difference in the place where she grew up.
I feel so lucky that I've been able to come back here and do the work that I do right here in Great Falls, and again provide those training opportunities, but also work on a disease that's really hits home for a lot of Montanans.
The FDA has approved a new Alzheimer's drug. Trials have shown a slow and decline in memory and thinking abilities. Scripps News national correspondent Lindsay Theis takes a closer look at how it works.
The newly FDA-approved drug called donanemab joins another drug called lecanemab. Both of these are IV infusions. They're given to patients in the early stages of Alzheimer's, and they target a pileup of amyloid plaque on the brain, a long-believed driver of the memory-robbing disease. Alzheimer's patient Patricia Bashara is hopeful. She told Scripps News Indianapolis she found success in a clinical drug trial for Eli Lilly's donanemab. The FDA approved the drug Tuesday.
Look at how I am 6.5 years later, and I'm doing so well.
Clinical trials show donanemab, brand name Kisunla, slowed Alzheimer's progression by 35% after a year and a half. Eli Lilly says a year and a half of treatments cost more than $48,000.
People had an advantage of about 5 or 6 extra months of time.
The approval comes days after an expert group with the nonprofit Alzheimer's Association updated diagnostic criteria, telling doctors for the first time to rely on biomarkers from lab tests or brain scans instead of pen and paper memory and thinking tests. Dr. Maria Carrillo with the Alzheimer's Association co-authored the changes.
Does that mean that blood tests or PET scans are going to replace paper and pencil tests? Absolutely not. But they give a clinician much more confidence.
Some experts believe the criteria will put more money in the pockets of drug makers without necessarily benefiting patients. Dr. Eric Wadera, a geriatrician at the University of California, San Francisco, warns millions of people could test positive for biomarkers but never actually develop dementia. Adding, most of the authors behind the changes reported financial ties to companies developing Alzheimer's treatments. Lindsay Theis, Scripps News.